She and John McCain are very close. They always laugh that if they wound up being the nominees of their party, it would be the most civilized election in American history, and they're afraid they'd put the voters to sleep.
Either way, it's going to be a Democrat. I'll be going for the more conservative Democrat if I vote for Hillary over John McCain.
Really?
I was very disappointed that we were unable to move comprehensive immigration reform forward. Path to legalization for the more than 12 million who are here already. And that was the cornerstone of the immigration reform that I supported.
Bring millions of people out of the shadows and into the sunshine of America. There's broad consensus that 12 million undocumented workers who are here should be offered the chance to earn their legalization. If this bill becomes law, it'll provide an historic opportunity for millions of people right away.
This is what John McCain said to the Tucson Citizen, home state paper, back in 2003. I think we can set up a program where amnesty is extended to a certain number of people who are eligible, and at the same time make sure that we have some control over people who come in and out of the country. Amnesty has to be an important part because there are people who've lived in the country for 20, 30, 40 years, who've raised children here, paid taxes here, and are not citizens. That has to be.
Bush and his cronies can't figure out how they can give even more tax cuts to the wealthiest of Americans. Now,
I voted against the tax cuts because of the disproportionate amount that went to the wealthiest Americans. I would clearly support not extending those tax cuts in order.
It's also a time for a new approach to climate change. We know we've got to deal with global warming. We're seeing the effects of it.
I would probably announce the closing of Guantanamo Bay. We will not torture anyone. I would announce that climate change is a big issue because we...
In particular, Mccain-Lieberman. This is a bill that would add $1,000 to people's gasoline bill every year, a gas tax, if you will, and it's imposed only on Americans.
Democrat Hillary Clinton and Republican John McCain have picked up big endorsements from the New York Times.
Let's talk about campaign finance reform, because for a lot of conservatives, I think that's your original sin, if you will. Romney says, for instance, that it hurt the Republican Party, it's restricted free speech, and worst of all, it hasn't worked because billionaire liberals like George Soros have just given their millions of dollars to these so-called independent 527 groups. Even Fred Thompson, who was one of your main co-sponsors back in 2002, now says it was a mistake.
Well, I'm grateful for Fred's support on that. It was McCain, Finegold, Thompson, and we couldn't have done it without him, so I'm very appreciative of it.
The numbers, I'm going to do everything I can to save the Republican the next 4 days. I cannot understand why all Republicans are not voting for Mitt Romney. I mean, I've asked people who say they're generally not people who pay a lot of attention to politics. They never have something. They just say they think he flip-flops, or they don't really. That is because the mainstream media is picking our candidate for us. He is manifestly the best candidate. He is the smartest. He is the most successful. He's charming. He has a lovely family. He is a conservative.